guys, welcome back to the Ancestry Guru. My name's Jack, and today we're going to be looking at the different steps you can take to start researching your family history. So these steps aren't a step-by-step guide, they're just different options you can take to research your family. Life is really different for everyone, and so these steps are designed to help everyone, no matter what your family situation is like, in searching for your family and who they are as people. So, the first step, and probably the only one that you want to do first, is to write down everything you know about your family. Any kinds of dates or stories you've been told as a child might be useful in identifying where's the first place to start. For example, just keeping a nice journal of the information you know can be helpful, and a few years down the road, it'll be interesting to look back and see what you first knew about your family. The next step, obviously, is to ask your parents. Oftentimes your parents will know more about your family history than you do, and they can point you in interesting directions to have a look for. Parents can also identify family members who might have already started or done a lot of family research. These people are great to talk to start looking at where you want to go. Number 3, asking your grandparents. Oftentimes grandparents know the most about your family history. They have insight and knowledge that might help you in your search for your history. It's a good idea to ask them if they have any information or if any of their relatives might have a lot more information than they do. Sometimes their brothers and sisters who you might have never met will have a huge amount of information on your family history. Reaching out to these people is a great way to build your family and to understand where you came from. One pro tip is to ask your grandparents if they have any old photo albums. These things are usually passed down from generation to generation and are extremely helpful in understanding your family situation. It's a good idea to ask your grandparents if they can run through the album with you. It can be challenging at first to go through a photo album and not recognize or have any context on the photos. Oftentimes your grandparents might be in the photos or have been told about the photos. This makes ancestry history a lot more interesting and can literally put a face on an ancestor. Another good tip is to ask your grandparents where they came from. In this world, people move around a lot. So if you're in Canada or America and your grandparents are from England, or their grandparents were from England, it's a good idea to figure out exactly where they came from, and it can point you in directions to be searching. If you have Japanese heritage, it's a good idea to know that so that you can look at the Japanese archives and find out a little bit more about your history. Number 4, looking through attics and closets. So you would be surprised at how much information might be tucked away in your attic or a closet. Family records like birth certificates, death certificates, and even memoirs get passed down from family to family. Oftentimes families don't want to throw these things away, but they don't want them out every day, so they end up in hidden away places. It's a good idea to ask your parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles, and even great aunts and uncles if they have any of this information. It can make searching a lot easier and also point out interesting places to look. Number 5, online research. So this is the big one. It's the one that's emerged recently as a huge pastime and business for many. Online research is by far one of the most incredible tools humans have invented in the recent history. Searching through archives like Ancestry and even public records can be a great way of identifying family members. It's important to try to figure out birth and death dates when searching online, because these are some of the key things that help identify different records that you need to search. One interesting avenue to look at is your surname. Surnames will often have dedicated websites filled with members of that surname researching. So if you're a Cody or a Smith, have a look. You'd be surprised at how much information is already out there on those family names. Number 6, local libraries and archives. So if you're from a specific area, You can often search up these areas and go to the physical locations. Libraries and archives often have hundreds of thousands of documents from the people who lived around that area. Not all of these can be put online. Sometimes none of them are put online. So it's a good idea to check and ask lots of questions while you're there. Oftentimes, you can find information that not even your family knew about. Number 7. In the same way that libraries and archives are great information to find in the local area, so are graveyards. Going to the graveyards around where your ancestors lived is a great way of identifying where you came from. Reading the tombstones and trying to identify family members can be a very interesting and sometimes humbling experience. Tombstone inscriptions often provide interesting information that you might not have had about ancestors hundreds of years old. Number 8. Reaching out and contacting the ancestry community. Many websites will have communities of people with dedicated message boards trying to figure out where they came from. These sites, like Ancestry, allow you to contact people all across the world and have them do a bit of research for you. This is often done on a reciprocal basis. So if you live in Boston and your ancestors are from England, you can contact someone there and they might be able to help you. In turn, someone from a different area might contact you and ask you to go and look for different records around your area. This can be a great way to build community and a very affordable way of checking out history without visiting those far-off places. If you're adopted, or you have someone in your family tree who's adopted, getting their DNA or your DNA analyzed can be a great way of contacting and discovering relatives you would have no way of finding out. Oftentimes, adoption records are sealed for a period of time. Sometimes this time can be around 120 years. So it's a good idea, if you're really interested, to get your DNA analyzed by one of the many sites that do this. Sites like Ancestry provide you with a DNA board where you can see where your ancestors came from, but they also allow you to contact DNA relatives. Contacting these people has to be done with respect, and you have to be careful not to offend anyone. We'll be doing a separate video on how to contact DNA relatives soon. These can provide you with interesting information that you didn't know, and it can make finding a needle in a haystack much easier. Well guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of the Ancestry Guru. If you liked what you heard, make sure to like and subscribe for the next episodes to come. And if you found any of these steps really interesting and want more information on how to carry them out, make sure to leave a comment down below, and we'll do a dedicated episode on exactly what you want to see. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully see you next week.